It started 6 days ago. The alarm screamed through Europa Station at 300 hours, yanking me from sleep. All medical personnel to Bay 7. Diplomatic emergency. Repeat, diplomatic emergency. I threw on my lab coat and ran, my heart hammering against my ribs. Diplomatic emergencies meant Valorians, the most powerful alien civilization in our sector. The ones who could either protect Earth or erase it from existence with a single command. Base 7 was chaos. Royal guards in gleaming obsidian armor formed a protective circle around a hovering medical pod. Inside I could see her, Princess Lyra'selle, third heir to the Valorian throne. Even dying, she was breathtaking. Her skin shimmered between sapphire and violet, constellations of light pulsing weakly beneath the surface. Her features were almost human, but refined, perfected, as if evolution had spent 1,000,000 extra years polishing every detail. "She's rejecting the regeneration serum," one of their physicians said, his voice tight with panic. "The genetic corruption is spreading. Without a compatible DNA match, she'll enter cascade failure in less than an hour." Captain Morrison turned to me. "Dr. Hayes, you're our xenobiology expert. Is there anything?" "Human DNA is structurally similar to Valorian," I said, my mind racing through years of research. "The compatibility rate is nearly 70%. If we could synthesize a bridge compound using human stem cells—" "There's no time for synthesis." The Valorian physician cut me off. His eyes, the color of liquid mercury, fixed on me with desperate intensity. "We need a direct transfusion, a living donor." The bay fell silent. Everyone understood what that meant. Direct DNA transfusion wasn't like giving blood. It was intimate, irreversible. The donor and recipient would share genetic markers for life. Some species considered it equivalent to marriage, others called it slavery. "I'll do it," I heard myself say. Morrison grabbed my arm. "Ethan, think about this. The political implications." "She's dying, Captain. I'm thinking about that. What happened next would haunt me forever." They positioned me beside the medical pod, my hand placed directly over Lyra'selle's chest. The Valorian technology didn't use needles or tubes. Instead, when the physician activated the transfer, I felt my DNA being pulled from my cells, drawn through my skin like water through a sieve. It should have hurt, but it didn't. It felt like recognition, like coming home to a place I'd never been. Lyra'selle's eyes opened. They were silver, bright as polished chrome, and they saw straight through me. Her lips moved, forming words in her native language that somehow, impossibly, I understood. "My savior, my belonging." The transfer completed. The medical pod's displays all shifted to green. The Valorian physicians exhaled in relief, their bioluminescent markings pulsing with joy. Captain Morrison patted my shoulder. "You did well, Doctor. You may have just secured Earth's alliance with the Valorian Empire." But I couldn't stop looking at Lyra'selle, because she was still looking at me, and her expression wasn't gratitude, it was ownership. They kept her in our medical bay for observation. I told myself I visited to monitor her recovery, to document the unprecedented human Valorian DNA fusion for my research. But the truth, I was drawn to her like a moon to its planet, caught in a gravity I couldn't escape. "You feel it too, don't you?" she asked on the second day. She sat up in bed, her recovery remarkably fast. The constellation patterns beneath her skin now pulsed in rhythm with my heartbeat. I'd noticed that. Every time my pulse quickened, her bioluminescence matched it. "Feel what?" I tried to sound professional, clinical. "The bond." She swung her legs off the bed, standing with fluid grace. She moved like water, like silk, like something that had never known awkwardness or uncertainty. "When you gave me your DNA, you didn't just save my life, Ethan. You bound yourself to me. In my culture, such an act means you've chosen me, chosen to be mine. I chose to save you, that's all. Is it?" She stepped closer, too close. I could feel the heat radiating from her skin, see the tiny sparkles of light dancing in her silver eyes. "Your heart is racing. Your pupils are dilated. Your body knows the truth even if your mind resists it. I stepped back, maintaining professional distance. Princess, I think there's been a cultural misunderstanding. There's no misunderstanding. Her voice was soft but absolute. You're coming with me to Valoria as my companion, my belonging. My personal physician, if it makes you feel better to call it that. But make no mistake, Ethan Hayes, you're mine now. That's when Captain Morrison intervened. Princess, with all due respect, Dr. Hayes is a Federation citizen. He has rights, obligations, a life here. Lyraselle's expression didn't change, but the temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. He gave me his life essence. By Valorian law, law that predates your Federation by 10,000 years, he belongs to the royal house now. This isn't a request, Captain. It's a statement of fact. The next 3 days were a blur of diplomatic negotiations, legal consultations, and increasingly desperate attempts to find a way out. But the Valorian Empire was clear. DNA transfusion to a royal created an unbreakable bond. I could either come willingly, or they would take me by force. And nobody wanted to risk war with the most powerful civilization in the galaxy over one person. Not even me. I'm sorry, Ethan, Captain Morrison said the night before the Valorian ship was scheduled to depart. We fought for you, but sometimes individuals have to sacrifice for the greater good. So here I am, standing in the launch bay, one small bag of belongings in my hands, watching the massive Valorian royal cruiser gleam like a captured star. My old life ending. My new one, whatever it is, about to begin. Lyra'selle appears at the top of the boarding ramp. She's dressed in full royal regalia now, flowing robes of liquid silver, a crown of crystallized light hovering above her head. She looks like a goddess. She looks like my captor. Ready. She asks, extending her hand. Do I have a choice? Everyone has choices, Ethan. You chose to save me. Now I'm choosing to keep you. Consider it. Fair exchange. The journey to Valoria takes 3 days at faster-than-light speed. The royal cruiser is obscenely luxurious. Walls that shift colors based on mood, gravity fields that adjust to your comfort. Food that's somehow engineered to taste exactly like your favorite memories. But luxury doesn't feel like freedom when you can't leave. Lyra'selle is everywhere. She appears at breakfast, sitting across from me with that unsettling smile. She shows me the ship's gardens, her hand always finding my arm, my shoulder, the small of my back. She tells me about Valoria, about the crystal cities and the singing forests and the oceans that glow with captured starlight. You'll love it there, she says. I'll give you everything you could ever want. Research facilities beyond your imagination. Access to xenobiological databases that catalog 1,000,000 species. Freedom to study whatever fascinates you, except the freedom to leave. Her smile doesn't falter. Why would you want to leave paradise? On the second night, I wake to find her in my quarters, just standing there watching me sleep. The bioluminescent patterns on her skin cast soft blue light across the room, making her look ethereal, otherworldly. Beautiful and terrifying in equal measure. What are you doing? I sit up, pulling the covers closer. Watching you breathe, watching the life I gave back to you. Do you know how it feels, Ethan, to die? To feel yourself slipping away into nothing. I was there, in that darkness, and then you appeared, your warmth, your life, your essence flowing into me. You didn't just save me, you became part of me. How can I ever let that go? There's something in her voice, something beneath the possession and the obsession, something that sounds almost like fear. Lyra, I say softly, using her name without the title for the first time. What really happened to you? Why were you dying? Her expression shutters closed. That's not your concern. It is if I'm apparently bound to you for life. For a long moment she just stares. Then slowly she sits on the edge of my bed. It was poison. Someone in the royal court doesn't want me alive. Someone who believes I'm too soft, too sympathetic to lesser species like humans. Someone who thinks I'm a threat to Valorian purity. She looks at her hands, at the constellation patterns that now pulse in sync with my heartbeat. When you saved me, you didn't just give me life. You gave me proof that I was right, that humans are worth protecting, worth cherishing, worth loving. Oh no, this isn't just obsession, this is something far more complicated. I'm not a symbol, Lyra, I'm a person who deserves agency over his own life. I know. She stands, moving toward the door. But I'm a princess who's been taught that love means possession, that caring means controlling, that to lose something precious is to show weakness. And I cannot afford weakness, Ethan. Not when someone is trying to kill me. She pauses at the threshold. I'll keep you safe, I'll give you everything, but I can't let you go. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. The door closes, I'm alone, and I realize that I'm not the only one who's trapped. Valoria is stunning. When we approach the planet, I press my face against the viewport like a child, watching the crystal cities materialize below. They're not buildings so much as living art, structures grown from solidified light, constantly shifting and reforming. The oceans do glow, the forests do sing. It's the most beautiful prison I could imagine. The royal palace is impossibly vast. My quarters, Lyra calls them our quarters, which I choose to ignore, occupy an entire wing. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlook gardens where flowers bloom in impossible colors. A research lab equipped with technology that makes Federation science look like cave paintings. A library containing xenobiological texts I've dreamed of reading my entire career. And at the center of it all, a door I'm not allowed to open. The door to Lyra'selle's private chambers. When you're ready, she tells me on our first evening in the palace, when you understand, that door will open for you. I spend the first week exploring, testing boundaries. The palace is enormous, but I'm always accompanied by graceful, silent guards. The library is available, but certain sections are locked. I can access the research lab, but all my communications are monitored. It's a golden cage, beautifully crafted. Lyra visits constantly. Sometimes she brings gifts, rare specimens for study, ancient texts, jewelry made from compressed starlight. Sometimes she just sits in my research lab, watching me work with those silver eyes that see too much. You're trying to find a way to break the bond, she observes one day. I don't deny it. I'm trying to understand it. Understanding and escaping are different things, Ethan. Are they? She smiles, sad and knowing. You can study it all you want. The DNA fusion is permanent. Your genetic code is now intertwined with mine. We're connected on a cellular level. Break that connection and we both die. That's what the bond means. I stare at the data on my screen. She's right. The fusion isn't surface level. It's woven through every strand of DNA in both our bodies. Trying to separate it would be like trying to unscramble an egg. So I'm stuck here, forever. You're home here, forever. She reaches out, her fingers brushing my cheek. Why is that so terrible? I give you everything. I worship you. I've elevated you above every other being in my world. You're not a prisoner, you're a treasure. Treasures are things, Lyra. I'm a person. Then be a person. Be angry, be defiant, be yourself. I don't want a compliant possession. I want you. All of you, your fire, your intelligence, your stubbornness. Don't you understand? You're the first person who ever looked at me and saw someone worth dying for. How could I not love that? How could I not want to keep it close? There's a desperate sincerity in her voice that cracks something in my chest. This isn't just about ownership. This is about someone who's been isolated by power her entire life. Someone who's learned that love means control because she's never experienced anything else. Lyra, I say carefully, what if I told you that real love means letting go, that you can't keep someone who doesn't want to be kept? Then I would say you don't understand Valorian love. She stands, her robes rippling like liquid mercury. We don't love casually, Ethan. When we bond, it's absolute, forever, unconditional. You saved me, and now I'll spend eternity making sure you never regret that choice. But I do regret it, not saving you but the consequences. For the first time, I see pain flash across her perfect features. Then I'll make you not regret it, however long it takes, however much I have to give you, you'll see. You'll understand." She leaves. I sit alone in my beautiful lab, surrounded by priceless equipment and irreplaceable knowledge, and I've never felt more trapped. But something she said nags at me. Someone tried to poison her. Someone in the royal court. Someone who's against human Valorian relations. Which means I'm not just Lyra's possession, I'm also a political statement. A vulnerability, a target. That night I make a decision. If I'm going to be stuck here, I'm going to understand this world. I'm going to figure out who tried to kill Lyra. And maybe, just maybe, I'm going to find leverage. Something I can use to negotiate my freedom. The palace library becomes my sanctuary. I learn Valorian history, politics, culture. I learn about the conservative faction that views other species as inferior. I learn about Princess Lyraselle's reputation as a reformer, someone who advocates for alliance rather than dominance. I learn about the succession crisis, 3 heirs, each representing different factions, each with their own vision for Valoria's future. And I learn about the bond of essence, the DNA transfusion. In ancient Valorian culture, it was the highest form of commitment, reserved for soulmates, for bonds that transcended death. But over millennia, it became a tool of power. A way to claim someone absolutely. A way to ensure loyalty through biological imperative. You're researching the bond. Lyra's voice makes me jump. She's appeared in the library without a sound, her robes shifting colors in the low light. I want to understand what you've done to me, what we've done to each other. She sits beside me, close enough that I can feel the warmth of her skin. The bond works both ways, Ethan. I'm as tied to you as you are to me. If you die, I die. If you're hurt, I feel it. Your heartbeat is my heartbeat now. We're not master and slave. We're 2 halves of the same whole. That's not romance, that's codependency. In Valorian culture, they're the same thing. She traces her finger across the ancient text I'm reading. This was written 3,000 years ago during the Age of Unity. Back then, the bond of essence was considered sacred. The highest honor, 2 beings becoming one. No secrets, no separation, complete and eternal union. And now it's considered archaic, dangerous. Most Valorians form bonds through technology, contracts that can be dissolved, connections that can be managed. But I'm traditional. Her silver eyes meet mine. When I love completely. When I claim forever. I don't apologize for that. Even if the other person doesn't want it, especially then. Because I know that deep down, beneath your fear and anger, there's a part of you that felt the same thing I did when our DNA fused. Recognition. Rightness, inevitability. She leans closer, her breath warm against my ear. You can deny it all you want, Ethan, but your body knows. Every time I'm near, your heart races, your skin flushes, your pupils dilate. You can't hide from biology. She's right, and I hate her for it. Because somewhere beneath the anger and resentment there is something, an attraction I don't want to feel, a pull I can't resist. The bond isn't just genetic, it's chemical, neurological, deeper than conscious choice. This isn't fair, I whisper. Nothing about love is fair. She stands, moving toward the door. But I'll prove to you that it's worth it. I'll show you that being mine is the best thing that ever happened to you, however long it takes. Weeks pass, then months. The palace becomes familiar. I develop routines, research in the morning, walks through the gardens in the afternoon, studying Valorian texts in the evening. Lyra is always there, a constant presence. Sometimes overwhelming, sometimes surprisingly thoughtful. She gives me space when I need it. She engages me in intellectual debates about xenobiology, about ethics, about the nature of consciousness. She's brilliant, I realize. Not just powerful or beautiful, but genuinely, frighteningly intelligent. And when she focuses that intelligence on understanding me, on figuring out what makes me happy, it's almost impossible not to respond. Almost. One evening, 6 months into my residence in the palace, Lyra appears with an unusual request. There's a gathering tomorrow, important members of the royal court. I want you there, by my side, as your prisoner, as my partner. The word hangs between us, heavy with implication. I'm not your partner, Lyra, I'm your captive. You're my everything, she corrects. And tomorrow night I want to show the court exactly what that means. Wear the suit I've left in your quarters, please. The suit is stunning, dark fabric that shifts between midnight blue and silver, embedded with tiny lights that pulse in rhythm with my heartbeat. When I put it on, I look almost Valorian, almost like I belong. The gathering is held in the palace's grand hall, a space so vast it has its own weather system. Gentle breezes carrying the scent of exotic flowers, soft rain falling in designated areas, never touching the guests. Hundreds of Valorian nobles fill the space, their bioluminescent skin creating a sea of living light. Lyra appears beside me, resplendent in royal regalia. She takes my hand, and I feel that now familiar jolt of connection. The bond recognizing itself. "Stay close," she murmurs. "Not everyone here is friendly." She's right. As we move through the crowd, I feel the stares, some curious, some hostile, some calculating. I'm a human among aliens, a foreigner in a royal court, a political statement wearing a beautiful suit. Princess Lyra'selle, a male Valorian, steps forward, his skin a deep crimson, his eyes cold. How quaint. Bringing your pet to formal events now. Lyra's grip on my hand tightens. "Lord Captor, may I introduce Dr. Ethan Hayes, my bonded companion, and I'd suggest you speak to him with more respect, unless you'd like to explain to the council why you insulted a member of the royal household." Bonded companion. Captor's laugh is sharp. "You've bound yourself to a human, a species that hasn't even achieved faster-than-light travel without our help. How the mighty have fallen." "A species," I say, surprising myself with my boldness. "That saved your princess's life when your own medicine couldn't. A species that clearly has value, even if narrow minds can't see it." Silence ripples through the nearby crowd. Lyra's bioluminescence flares bright with pride. Captor's expression darkens. "Interesting. The pet has teeth. Tell me, Dr. Hayes, do you know what happens to humans who displease the Valorian court?" "I imagine," I say steadily, "the same thing that happens to anyone who threatens a royal bonded companion, regardless of species." More silence. Then Lyra laughs, genuine and delighted. "He's magnificent, isn't he? This is why I chose him, this fire, this courage. You could all learn something from him." As Captor stalks away, I realize something crucial. This gathering isn't just a social event. It's a challenge. Lyra is making a statement, that I'm not just her possession but her equal, that our bond means something politically significant, and I've just made myself a target. The attack comes 3 days later. I'm in my research lab when the pain hits, sudden, sharp, like a knife in my chest. I collapse, gasping, and through the haze of agony I feel it. "Lyra, something's wrong with Lyra. The bond works both ways." She said that. If she's hurt, I feel it. I stumble out of the lab, following that thread of connection, my vision blurring. Guards appear, supporting me, guiding me through corridors. We reach Lyra's private chambers, that forbidden door, now blown open. Lyra is on the ground, silver blood pooling around her. Captor stands over her, a crystalline blade in his hand. "Poison didn't work," he says calmly, "so I'm trying a more direct approach." Everything slows down. I see the blade rising. I see Lyra's eyes, silver and fading, finding mine. And I realize if she dies, I die. The bond is absolute, but that's not why I move. I move because in 6 months of captivity, of complex emotions and conflicted feelings, somewhere along the way, something changed. I stopped seeing just my captor. I started seeing a person. A flawed, desperate, deeply lonely person who loved in the only way she knew how. I throw myself between them. The blade enters my shoulder and the pain is blinding. But it's not in Lyra's heart. It's in mine. What happens next is chaos. Guards flood the chamber. Captor is subdued. Medical personnel swarm around us. But all I can focus on is Lyra's face, her hands pressing against my wound, her bioluminescence flickering with panic. "Why?" she's saying over and over. Why did you do that? You could have let me die, you could have been free. Because, I gasped through the pain, apparently I'm an idiot who actually cares what happens to you. Her laugh is broken, desperate. You care? I care. I don't know when it happened, I don't know how, but yes, I care. She kisses my forehead, my cheeks, my lips. Her tears mix with the blood on my skin. I love you, she whispers. I know I showed it wrong. I know I took your freedom, but I love you more than I've ever loved anything. I know, I whisper back. And Lyra, I think I might love you too, but you have to let me choose it. You have to give me the freedom to stay by my own will, not because of a bond. I can't break the bond. No, but you can stop treating me like a possession. You can let me have agency. You can love me like a partner, not like a treasure in a vault. She pulls back, studying my face. You'd stay, even if I gave you the choice to leave. I don't know, maybe, probably, but I need to know it's my choice. For a long moment she's silent. Then, the moment you're healed, I'll arrange for a ship. You can go back to Europa Station, back to your old life. No obligations, no bond compelling you to return. Her voice cracks. And if you choose to come back, then I'll know it's real. The healing takes 2 weeks. 2 weeks of Lyra beside my bed constantly, holding my hand, telling me stories of Valoria. 2 weeks of slow realization that somewhere in this impossible situation, something genuine grew. Something neither of us expected. When I'm finally cleared to travel, Lyra walks me to the docking bay. Her hand is in mine, but her grip is loose, ready to let go. The ship is ready, she says quietly. Captain Morrison is waiting. Your old position at Europa Station is still available. Lyra, don't say anything, just go. Live your life, and if you ever want to come back. Her voice breaks. I'll be here, waiting, always. I look at the ship, at freedom, at my old life ready to be reclaimed. Then I look at Lyra. At her silver eyes, now lined with tears she's trying not to shed. At the bioluminescent patterns on her skin that pulse in rhythm with my heartbeat. At this brilliant,